A power purchase agreement is a contract between two parties, one that sells and one that buys electricity. Typically, the power is linked to a specific renewable production facility. The PPA defines all of the commercial terms for the sale of electricity between the parties, such as price, volume, delivery period, payment terms, penalties for underdelivery, termination clauses, guarantees, etc. PPAs are often used as a tool to finance renewable energy projects. Having a committed buyer and a fixed price for the electricity in advance secures the revenues that the plant will get in the future. This increases the willingness for banks and investors to finance the build-out. Without any price hedge, the revenues for a producer would come from selling their power at spot prices. And those can be very unpredictable and make financing of the project more difficult. A PPA creates predictability and reduces risk for electricity producers and investors, but also for consumers. As a consumer, you secure future costs of electricity. A PPA can be signed with the producer as the seller and an end consumer as the buyer. This is often referred to as a corporate PPA. Note that the producer always needs a utility company to handle the actual physical power production and balancing from their plant, regardless if there's a PPA agreement or not. PPAs can also be signed with a utility as the buyer. This is called a utility PPA, and an end consumer can also sign a PPA with a utility based on the production from a renewable asset. One advantage of a utility PPA is that utility companies are better equipped to deliver a hedge that matches the respective needs of both sides. In a corporate PPA, there are often mismatches in needs like timing and location of production and consumption, leading to long negotiations. Imagine this. The seller wants to sell 50 gigawatt hours per year, but the buyer wants to buy only 30. The seller is a solar producer that can sell very little in the winter and much more in the summer. But the buyer wants to hedge more in the winter because heating demand is higher. On top of that, the buyer is located in price zone 1 and the solar farm in price zone 2. Either the buyer or the seller will have a mismatch between their actual consumption or production, and someone has to take the risk of price differences between areas. In both these cases, a power trader or a utility such as Axpo can bridge the gap by taking over certain risks that allow structuring the PPAs to the unique needs of both sides. Power utilities handle these risks on an everyday basis and act as a much-needed risk buffer between producers and consumers. Utility companies are in fact important catalysts in the industry to facilitate more PPAs and the build-out of more renewable energy. Think about it this way. You buy your potatoes from the grocery store instead of from the farmer. Why? It's easier and much more convenient, right? The store plays an important role by making sure that consumers have fresh food on demand and producers can focus on growing more food. A power utility does a similar thing with electricity by bridging the gaps and tailoring to the needs of both sides uniquely. So, first of all, a PPA is an insurance that provides financial predictability and stability. If you're only looking to hedge your power price for purely financial reasons, it's not necessary to involve actual physical electricity at all. Parties can simply agree to compensate each other for the difference between their agreed PPA price and the actual electricity price in the market. This is what is called a virtual or a financial PPA. The parties keep their usual supply contracts to get electricity delivered at spot prices and sign a PPA on the side to hedge for price movements. This could, in principle, be done between two parties on opposite sides of the globe. but it's strongly recommended to sign virtual PPAs only in price zones where you are active, to have a natural link to your market. The alternative, a physical PPA, typically means that you combine a supply contract with the PPA. This requires the involvement of the power suppliers of both the producer and consumer sides. If they have the same supplier, it's easy. If not, it's still possible, but requires more contractual specifications. There is a lot more to talk about when it comes to PPAs. Axpo can help you navigate around the topic and help you get a solution adapted to your needs. Visit our website for contact details, and thanks for watching.